My name is Timothy C. Cooley. I am presently the captain at the Floyd County Emergency and Rescue Squad Incorporated. I am presently sit on the City Council of Prestonsburg. And I was born in Greenville, South Carolina in 1959. I was an Air Force brat. When I was a year old, my father was in the service there and met my mother down there. My mother was, in 1957, was Miss South Carolina. And he ended up dating her, got married. They had me, of course, and a year later I was brought to Prestonsburg, where my father's from. And that's where I've been ever since. This rescue squad has a unique history, unlike any other in the nation. It was created because of a horrific school bus crash in 1958, February the 28th, where 26 children and the driver perished. 22 survived. There was no rescue squad in Kentucky at that time. During the search for those children, a rescue squad out of Greenville, Tennessee come up and helped first captain, Graham Burchett, and James Goebel and some others form the first rescue squad in the state of Kentucky. Paperwork was actually signed on the backs of some of these people right on the riverbank while they were searching for these children. That was on April the 27th of 1958 when this squad was formed. Very first squad in the state of Kentucky, and actually, as of right now, and has been, ranked #1 in the state of Kentucky too. You know, this is a disease that I was discovered to have when I joined the Air Force. I was then medically discharged from the Air Force later because of it. I was told at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington by 8 doctors said in 1982 that, Mr. Cooley, you will be blind in 8 years. Well, they were wrong, because I didn't know I had a problem at first, because it's the type of problem that is, you lose your peripheral vision slowly. It's called RP, retinitis pigmentosa. It's a shrinking of your peripheral field. For many years, I didn't realize that I had no peripheral vision because it's a slow process. You don't think about it until things start happening to you, like car wrecks and somebody coming in and you don't see them and those types of things. And that's what began to happen. But for years, it stayed in recession. It didn't change until about 6 years ago. And about 6 years ago, it went wild and got real aggressive and caused me to have basically pinholes that I look through. I don't have any peripheral vision. My wife can slap me and I'll never know who did it from the side, so you know, if that was the case. So I started having troubles and I ended up having to lose my job and so forth. I was involved in teaching at Big Sandy Community and Technical College. I taught recording and vocal and stage actions and with kids. I worked with the Big Sandy Idol program for many years and so forth, helped start it. And it got to where I couldn't because I lost my driver's license, all this stuff. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting at home. Actually found myself totally blind for a little while, both eyes. Went to the University of Kentucky, and the lead ophthalmologist there said, sorry about your luck, because there's no cure. And then I found a doctor in Louisville who was actually the chairperson for the RP Foundation who wanted to see me. And he did some intense study on me and found that I had 2 very hard cataracts over those pinholes and was able to give me some sight back. During that time, I'll have to say I was a little wishy-washy. I mean, I would sit at home. My wife would come home, and I'd lay my head in her lap and cry like a baby because I was useless. I didn't know what I was going to do now. I had a son that was in medical school. I had grandbabies, and I wanted to be able to see him graduate and walk across the stage. There was a lot of things went through my mind, and they were commonly bad things, okay? So you might say I felt sorry for myself. Fortunately, at that particular time, I had got blessed, we had got blessed with some money from the General Assembly to start building this squad building. So my wife brought me up here every day and set me down under a tent outside while this building was being built. That saved my life, mentally, because I was here every day, even though I couldn't see it. But during that time, I only missed a couple of days, and that was to have those surgeries, 4 surgeries, that got me some of my vision back to where I could walk around without a stick now. It saved me mentally. It's a good thing because I know every inch of this building. I know how many feet of wires in it, electrical, Cat 6. I know how many sheets of sheetrock's in there, how many buckets of mud. I know everything about this place. So I can get around in it pretty good, unless somebody moves something on me. But since that time, we've been in here, it'll be 4 years in April. Since that time, I've had some other issues that's going on. My left eye is now gone. So I don't have vision in my left eye, and I've only, as of last week, lost another 10% in this one, which brings it down to a 3% total vision. So I don't have a lot of vision and probably won't have any the way it's going in the next year or so. But I made a decision that, and this squad, thankfully, the fire people think that they have brothers and sisters and they talk about that, you ought to be in this squad. It's the same thing because as captain, I can't make calls anymore. I can't cut the cars open. I can't walk in the hills and search for people. I can't do that stuff. I can't do what I want to do. But I do try to take care of our facility, and I try to get them things that they need, and they wanted me to stay, and they wanted me to stay captain. So I don't seem to have a problem getting rides everywhere. That kind of sucks, when you can't go somewhere and you have to depend on somebody else. My wife and friends and so forth have to do those things for me. But it is what it is. There's a reason for everything. Even though it took me a while, there was a reason why I have my problems. And I think the squad is one of those reasons in my community. Because if I hadn't had this squad, I probably wouldn't be here right now. I would have done a couple of things. I would have worried myself till I got sick, other things. Who knows, I might have put a bullet through my head. Who knows what could have happened when you get in those kinds of shapes and those feelings. So I think the squad saved my life. I teach swift water flood rescue classes, and I teach instructional methodology courses for the state. And of course teach some things here at the squad. But one of the reasons I wanted to make sure that anyone who took the swift water flood rescue course was healthy, had stamina, the capabilities for me to throw them in moving water, and if they got washed away, they'd be coming walking back up the bank later safe. They may be tired, but at least they're alive to go home. That was what I wanted to do. The other side of that, one of the reasons I incorporated that with instructional methodology is this is not like a college course or a high school course or sign up and take a class kind of thing. We deal with different age groups, and a lot of it's older folks, first responders, people that have done this for years possibly. And usually they're not getting paid to do this. Most everything's volunteer. So they don't have to be here. So what I wanted to make sure that we did was that we incorporated instruction to where We met the need of the student that took their time to come and take this course. And when they left at the end of the class, they said, we've been trained. Well, this was worth my time. When my classes got sanctioned by Kentucky Emergency Management, the state, as well as KCTCS, it kind of gives them a little more credibility that way too. So people like to see their certificates, those types of things. I'm not a big certificate fan. Just because you have a piece of paper that says you know how to do this doesn't necessarily mean you do a lot of times. And that's what I want my classes to do. They have to prove it to us. My Swift Water class, you don't sign up and pass it automatically. You can flunk it. So there's been some that can't, and they don't need to be. But usually they've shown themselves that. They figured out this ain't for me. I can't swim across Dewey Lake in 20 minutes and back dragging somebody. No. Those types of things. So they convince themselves, my body is not capable of being a rescue swimmer. So they automatically take themselves out of the picture. Because what we teach is how to use the water as a tool, not an enemy. With my instructional methodology, I used it, which I'm having this weekend. I'm teaching people how to teach people that are from different walks of life, from old to young, in first responder category type stuff. So that's what motivates me to push that way. I want people to be taught correctly, not just handed a piece of paper because they showed up. Well, you got to remember, I might not have been born here, but I was raised here. I have a wonderful family that was here. Some have gone on. I was blessed to have a good Christian family. Good, solid friends. And I'm talking about the kind of friends that would go over the edge for you, not just tell you they were. Solid friends. Few and far between this day and time. People that supported me when I decided to go into the United States Air Force. People that supported me when I started having my vision troubles, and still do. People that supported me when I decided one day that I would get on a bus and go sing Southern gospel music and leave my family for a year, almost, basically a year, and travel around all over the U.S. and other countries to sing gospel music. I had support. Then, the support of this organization and those that know this organization. Because I think that the majority of the people in my community, Floyd, Martin, Johnson, McGoffin, Pike, doesn't matter, have had almost 60 years, 59, to figure out that this organization means business, it spends wisely, it takes it serious. There's no messing around here. When we have fun as a family, as members, we take care of, or we care, let's say it that way, who is members here. It's like it used to be years ago. To be a squad member, you got to be of good moral standing. That's few and far between, unfortunately. And it's still that way. It's still that way. So the region has took care of Tim Cooley. And being part of this, Prestonsburg City Council, my church, and other things that I try to involve myself in is, I don't have a lot of money. What I do have is me. And hopefully I can give back by working some way or helping them do things. Those are the avenues that I have and that I feel like I am halfway decent at. So that's why I do this. Everything that we talked about till now, ball all that up into this big ball. Think about what I said that's the reason that I do it for this region.